Deadly disasters collide with the closing month of campaign season as the vice presidential nominees prepare for their first debate. To discuss all that, we're joined by our Politics Monday duo. That is Amy Walter of the Cook Political Report with Amy Walter and Tamara Keith of NPR. Great to see you both.
Good to be here.
So as you've seen now, the devastation from Hurricane Helene has found its way into not only the presidential race, but also just politics writ large. Tam, I know you were following this. Earlier, former President Trump alleged without any evidence that Governor Kemp of Georgia had trouble reaching President Biden as he was trying to reach him on the phone to talk about aid. And President Biden was asked about this in the Oval, responded very, very angrily. Tell me about that response and what it says about this moment.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say that what former President Trump said was contrary to evidence. Governor Brian Kemp of Georgia said that he spoke to President Biden yesterday on the phone, was able to reach him on the phone. President Biden reassured him, said, anything you need, just give me a call anytime. President Biden asked about this in the Oval Office during his second event of the day related to this disaster recovery. He said Trump is lying, and he said it made him angry. And the reason it upsets him is because he's not just lying about politics, he's also lying to people who need support and help. And so President Biden said that, he was upset that Trump was implying that they weren't doing everything that they possibly could. This went from a politician going to deliver supplies and aid along with a religious organization to a politician making this blatantly political in a swing state that is being affected by a disaster, and then the president and the vice president responding by doing everything they can to project and show that they are being as responsive as they possibly can. And this is disaster politics in the year 2024.
And now we know President Biden has also said he'll be visiting Georgia on Wednesday and Florida and North Carolina to follow. But Amy, as you watch this now as well, both presidential candidates changed their plans in response to the devastation from Hurricane Helene. You have two battleground states really badly affected, Georgia and North Carolina here. How could this impact the race?
Well, what I think is interesting, we're obviously putting a federal microscope or focus on this, which is important, and obviously the federal government does have a significant role to play. But I think for people who live in those states, people who are affected by this, they are looking more to their local elected officials, to their governors especially. So we're going to be hearing a lot more about Governor Kemp, who, by the way, doesn't have the best relationship with Donald Trump already after the 2020 election situation, and to Governor Cooper, Democratic governor in North Carolina. I think in terms of the politics, where it impacts voting behavior more is probably at the state and local level. And remember, when the national politicians go home, those local elected officials, they're the ones that are still there. So I don't think it's going to necessarily impact the way people are going to be voting at the top of the ticket, but it certainly is going to impact the way they see their local elected officials dealing with what is clearly going to be not just a days-long, but months-long, maybe even years-long cleanup effort.
I just want to clarify, I misspoke. President Biden is going to North Carolina on Wednesday, not to Georgia.
Yes.
But meanwhile, we're also looking ahead to tomorrow, Tam. We know the vice presidential candidates will be facing off in their first debates, Governor Tim Walz and Senator J.D. Vance. What do we know about how they're preparing and their strategies going into this evening?
So what we know is that Tim Walz is in Michigan, in northern Michigan, doing debate prep with Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg in his personal capacity, playing J.D. Vance in those mock debates. I think that what I have been told is that he is looking forward to it being over. I know that J.D. Vance has been preparing with Tom Emmer, a congressman from Minnesota, who says that he has been working hard to replicate Tim Walz's mannerisms. So they're doing the prep. They are preparing. And as we've come to expect, both of their campaigns are out there, saying, well, my candidate may not be the best debater, or don't undersell the other candidate. He's a great debater. What I would just say is I have gone back, and through time, there have been some spicy moments at vice presidential debates. You are no Jack Kennedy, memorable lines that we may not even remember were part of a vice presidential debate, but really memorable lines. And you know how much they mattered? Not at all. This is certainly, this debate will be part of the discourse. It is perhaps more important. We'll get more attention because right now there isn't another presidential debate scheduled after this one.
Right.
But it's a vice presidential debate.
So what about this issue of impact, Amy? I just want to put up a poll before we turn to you on this, because when you go back to the September debate between Harris and Trump, we saw some polling from the New York Times, CNN, and Philadelphia Inquirer that voters saw Harris as the clear winner of that debate, but then polling averages in the weeks afterwards showed really kind of little movement post-debate. So what do you expect to come out of this?
We are living in an era where literally the head-to-head polls do not move, and they are not going to move. We have a 50-50 race, and it's moving on the edges. What does matter, I think, some of these moments, these viral moments, do become part of the conversation. For some candidates in a good way, for others not a great way. We are still talking about pets being eaten. How many weeks has it been since that debate? So where is the focus? Is it on the mistake that one candidate made? Is it on a viral moment that does get attention? I think that's important. It's also pretty clear to me from listening in on the Trump campaign today and their press call that they kind of see this as a redo, basically getting Vance to do what Trump did not, which is, as they said, we need to make sure that Walz he and Harris have to take responsibility for the fact that Harris has been the sitting vice president. What has she been doing for the last 3.5 years? She says she has all these plans. Why didn't she make that a priority while she was sitting in that job as vice president? So being as a more disciplined campaigner, as we know Vance is, I think that's where the whole focus is going to be. In fact, I think the issues around the two vice presidents themselves, who they are, is less important than their ability to make this race for Vance about Harris, and of course for Walz to make it once again about Donald Trump.
Amy Walter and Tamara Keith, always good to kick off the week with both of you. Thank you so much. Good to see you.
You're welcome.
And please remember to join us tomorrow night for our simulcast of that CBS News vice presidential debate. We'll have live coverage of the debate plus additional analysis. That all begins at 9 p.m. Eastern.